ba da ba bum bum ba dum. Da ding da 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 dum ba ba bum ba bum ba dum da ba ba bum ba dum da 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 dum da dum da 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 dum da dum ba da ba bum bum ba dum 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 da da bum 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 good ding dum dum dee dum. Oh yeah. Let's see. Persistent string key. Oh my. Looks like it does. Oh. All right. See if I'm on live. I am live. All right, cool. Alright, I'm working on it, Birdie. How do, let's see. Pop out chat. Alright, now, let's see. How about now? There we go. Alright, Birdie, do your thing again. Did that come through? Yes, it did. All right, we love it. It's a little jammed up. All right. Mahamor, Marian Mexicano from 3 weeks ago, with a lot of his regular drummer. I don't know if that's his regular bass player or not. Who else? You got the pianist, different clarinet player. A lot of times it's his son. Welcome to the live stream, ladies and germs. Do I have? Let's see. Well, that's all right. We're still getting things together. There's a million things being built. Whoa, nice and big. Let me fix this. What's up, everybody? Hello from from sunny southeastern Pennsylvania in the Lehigh Valley is what it's called. My name is Dallas, and this is my accordion live stream that I do every Tuesday, just about. If I'm able to, which ends up being most Tuesdays. We're gonna get right off to the start here. I have a run a show now, so let's see. What's the very first thing that I'm supposed to do? Welcome. Say who I am. Say what this live stream is about. Okay, here I go. All right. So, my name's Dallas. I'm an accordion player and an accordion educator here in southeastern Pennsylvania, and this is my live stream where I talk about playing the accordion, teaching the accordion, learning about music of all kinds. We listen to a lot of accordion music from all over the world, different cultures, different styles, all sorts of stuff. I certainly have my tastes, but I like to think my tastes are fairly broad. I don't like everything, but whatever. And I love watching videos and learning together on the stream, and we do all kinds of stuff. Things are a little weird out there these days, so I'm going to read my little thing that says what I feel is important to me. Just because if you're out there and these things are important to you, then you know that there's another person out here that believes in the same things as you do. So this accordion is this live stream is this accordion is pro live stream. This live stream is pro accordion, obviously. Pro musicians' rights and representation, pro educators' rights and representation, pro LGBTQIA+, pro gender equality, pro feminist, pro democracy, pro political plurality, pro immigrant, pro immigration. We are anti-fascist, anti-white supremacist, anti-war. We're anti the wars that are going on right now. Anti. It's absolutely horrific. They need to stop. We can resolve all these things. We can live in peace and harmony. We can use diplomacy. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. We are anti-genocide of the Palestinian people. We are anti-Semitic. We are pro-public funding for the arts, pro-public education, pro-educators, pro-academia, pro-university, etc., and pro-learning. And welcome to this community. Welcome back to this community. If you're watching on the replay or live, I'm on 3 platforms simultaneously. Facebook, on my personal page. I haven't figured out how to get it to go to my business page yet, but my personal page is really a business page. I don't ever really post anything. Rarely post anything personal on there. It's mostly just for work and professional contacts. Anyways, you can find that. I'm also on Twitch and I'm on YouTube. And today's live stream. All right, so the subject of today's live stream, the sort of theme that we're going to get into, is starting on the road to Django in June. So this will be a segment that I want to continue for all of April and all of May. I'm going to weave it in there. Maybe we'll get 45 minutes in or something, segment, 30, 45 minutes, in addition to other things. I don't want it to take over the whole live stream. It's something that I did last year, which is really cool. Django in June is a camp in Northampton, Massachusetts on the Smith College campus. That's mostly for adults, although I think younger people can be there as long as you have a parental guardian with you. But it's a camp for learning the music of Django Reinhardt, which is called Gypsy Jazz, which is a kind of jazz music that started in the sort of hot trad jazz age, 20s, 30s, 40s. Django Reinhardt himself passed away in 1953. So he made it into the swing bands, and he actually toured the United States with Duke Ellington. So we're going to start off today when we get to that segment pretty soon. And that's the main segment for today. I still don't have any graphics and stuff. I am managing to get this going, though. Over the last couple of years, I was paying a lot of money every month for a service that would kind of make all this stuff happen for me. And I'm really trying to reduce my overhead expenses so I have a little bit more to do stuff with. You guys, I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. Let's see. So, all right. So that's that segment. Yes. Alrighty. This session, my winter session is coming to a close here in the next week or so. We've had a lot of wonderful private lessons and a lot of wonderful group classes. And probably next week I'll announce the next offerings for the next 3-month section, April, May, and June, that I call the spring session. That'll be cool. I'm looking at continuing on the jazz harmony, chords and harmony class, which I thought everybody did really, really wonderfully in, and got a good foundation of harmony. and using our ears and some really essential things for how to approach it. Thinking of things as numbers, using our ears and our voice to sing the roots of chords and chord progressions, and learning and memorizing these the kind of vocabulary that makes up these tunes: 2-5-1, 1-6-2-5, a chain of dominants going 3 dominant, 6 dominant, 2 dominant, 5 dominant, and then some more iconic patterns. We had a fun class last night where we had been looking at the chords to a tune like "Fly Me to the Moon," which is 6-2-5-1-4-7-3-6, and we saw that those are the same chords to "I Will Survive," which is pretty cool, and also very similar chords to most of "Killing Me Softly," which are 2 other fun, cool tunes. And it's just neat to like kind of say, oh, okay, same or very similar harmonic vocabulary makes up all this stuff. So I'm looking forward to going forward in the next session, not with such a highly architected group class, but something that's all these little smatterings of group classes that fit people, probably no more than 5 people in these small group classes, working on people who have similar life experiences, musical life experiences, really, who I think are a good match, and for whom the time segment works out. And then the smaller groups can be working on things that are more personal, and I'll have more time to work with them individually in a small group of 5 people. And that's what I'm thinking of doing for April, May, June. I will have, when signups are ready, and I can shoot you guys an email, or pardon me, a webpage for that, I will pass that right along. Okay, that's a little bit of updates about what's coming. Yes, all right. So here is my, let's see. Here is my burgeoning news segment. So I'm attempting to have a segment after my updates. Oh, one more life update. I just a couple hours ago, it's 3:00 Eastern time now, at noon Eastern time, I rode my bicycle about a mile, not too far, over to the Lehigh University, which has been there for a while, that school, and they have this really cool concert series, where the last time, a couple months ago in February, I was there, and they had Anat Cohen, who's a clarinetist, and her band, which featured Vitor Gonçalves, who's a really phenomenal, amazing musician, multi-instrumentalist, but primarily accordion and piano, and he played both of those, and that was just an extraordinary, really meaningful, deep concert, because the musicians are so amazing, playing beautiful but sort of contemporary jazz, quite tonal, but pushing the boundaries of tonality, a lot of sort of outside playing and sophisticated rhythms and stuff. So beautiful and neat. And the setting, the concept for this concert series over at the college at their Performing Arts Center, somehow it's in coordination with Carnegie Hall, the Carnegie Hall, which is cool, in New York City. I don't understand the exact relationship there. But they have a presenter who comes, and he's this wonderful man who's very positive, and he comes out singing hello, and he invites us to breathe and to sort of center and to consider things and be grateful. And you're not in the theater, you're not sitting in the theater seats, you're actually up on stage. They have the theater lights are out, the house lights are off. The theater lights are blue, so it creates this very these blue LEDs up coming from the ceiling of the stage are on, and the musicians are in the center of the stage, and there's all these chairs. There's kind of a square of chairs at the back, and then all of these little meditation pads and buckwheat meditation pillows with each pad scattered all over. And so this is the second time I've gone there, and it's been accordions twice in a row, which is great. And so it was Bridge and Wolak, that's Michael Bridge and a clarinetist, last name Wolak, pardon me, who are concertizing around the U.S. They just played in Delaware, he said, Michael said, and they come from Toronto, Canada. And so that was a beautiful 1 hour where they played their, it was a mixture of all kinds of stuff, some swing, they played, bum, bum, what is that Sidney Bechet tune? Petite Fleur. They played Petite Fleur. They played Hey Good Lookin'. They played many classical selections. They played a tango that I didn't know the name of it, but it was really cool. And Michael's doing all this stuff with his digital accordion, and he's got all these different samples he's firing and combinations and all this orchestrational stuff. And Wallach is playing acoustic clarinet. And it's a really cool scene. And the whole time you're invited to like lay down and close your eyes. And then the presenter comes on again, and he has you kind of like think about things a little. It's super chill and very relaxing. Really neat concert series. And then later tonight, I actually shifted lessons around a little bit so I can go to this weird, on the same college campus, this weird sound installation thing. And it's like you sit in. I'm really excited. I like this kind of stuff. I really like installation art and weird sound stuff. I really like that. And I've done some like over the years, like kind of my whole adult life, I've done various things where I've done very, very small scale, experimental kind of parties with like sound design and stuff. I really like sound design, environmental sound design. And I found out about that because one of the, let's see, I gotta get yeah, there it is. One of the projects I felt motivated to do over the weekend, and this goes back to like some of the ideas that we've talked about on the live stream at the beginning of the year, which is participating in the arts that are happening, going out to see live art, being part of your culture that's happening, you know. And for me, I do have an appetite for the kind of art that, you know, gets played in a lot of different stuff. I like a lot of different stuff. I don't like my clothes and hair to smell like cigarettes and my sinuses to get messed up from cigarette smoke by going to a dive bar. But otherwise, I like that environment. I like the high, I like the low, I like everything in between. But I was having trouble with our local live arts calendars, of which there were a few of them going on. And I've been doing, I don't know, just kind of going deeper down the rabbit hole of using AI to do stuff. And so I thought, and I have a few friends too here who also, you know, I can call and invite to go do stuff. And I was like, I wish there was like an easier way to find cool stuff to do. You know, what can we do and go out? Like I still don't have a whole lot of like not enough social connections here where I live. You know, it's one of the things like I actively want to grow and get more friends and more kind of, the more people you know, especially that are into similar things, will share stuff. Oh, did you know this thing's happening here? But anyway, where I'm going is this. Let's see. Let me open this in the right tab. I'll show you guys. I didn't build. I had Claude with my prompting and what the heck did I do? I did something weird now. Oh shoot. Hang on. My Chrome tabs are getting weird. Here, let me find this. Mary Mexicano is still playing. Cut to the chase, Dallas. You're rambling. I had Claude Code build this. I bought the domain for like $6. LV Culture. LV stands for Lehigh Valley, which is the area I live in. And I said, you know, make me some code that will like scrape all the different performing arts websites. And really, I'm interested in like the genres I care about. You know, I want to see theater and dance and music, especially instrumental music I love, and I want to see more of it. I also want to see like lectures and people talking about cool stuff and presenting stuff. So there's a few colleges in this area, scrape all those, scrape the bars. I have a good friend who does a lot of trivia. So, okay, I don't love trivia for myself, but scrape him, make sure his trivia gigs show up on this thing. So I've just shared it with a few friends. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, here you go. So I made this thing over the weekend, and the thing that this like installation sound bath that I'm going to later today. Let me see if I can find it here. So this is the concert that I saw today, or no, this is their Michael Bridge and what's his first name? It always escapes me. Wallach. Where is Cornell Wallach? Pardon me. That's easy to remember. Anyway, these are the guys. They're playing again tonight, but then where is the? trying to find the other thing that I'm saying. Because it also scrapes the movie theaters. It's not here anymore, which I don't know why. Well, oh no, here it is. The World According to Sound. So anyway, it's just kind of fun that I made this thing. Sorry, you guys can't see me anymore. But I made this like arts calendar scraper. And then I found, and it's been working for me. Like I found more cool stuff to do. So very graciously, the people that I had scheduled like either moved, it rescheduled to another day, or were able to meet earlier so that I can go to this immersive sonic experience. I'll read it. Just sounds cool. I'll let you guys know next week. Surrounded by an octaphonic ring of powerful loudspeakers, you're going to sit in the dark for 70 minutes, wear an eye mask, and be taken on a sonic trip with fellow members of your academic community. Well, I hope they let me in because I'm not a member of the academic community, but we'll see. You'll hear ideas, essays, books, theories, and contemporary research, all translated into soundscapes that challenge you to rethink the world through your ears instead of your eyes, and ultimately to reconnect with what makes academic inquiry so meaningful. Again, I hope they let us in as just lay people, but it seems really cool and fun, and it's exactly the kind of thing that's the kind of thing I'm into, you know, like I want that to be happening in my own town. So I made this in essentially basically most of it in like one morning on AI, I think on Saturday. I got it to do this, and then it's been sort of, it started with a minimal amount of sources and then more and more and more. Sources meaning like venues, you know. So I'm like, oh yeah, okay, check out, you know, find a list of all the breweries that might have events and add those to the list. And so every day I think I just have to like trigger it, and it goes out and it scrapes all the sites that it's saved and finds if any new events are listed. Here's a really cool thing that I made. So there's a map which you can pick the day you're looking for, and then wherever you are in town, you can find like, okay, well, hey, I'm going to be over in Easton tonight. Let's see, where's Easton? Here's Easton. I'm going to be in Easton tonight at like around 6. So let's see what's happening in Easton at 6 today, you know? And I think that's really fun. So you can see like, okay, here's a little green dot. So we have this Francophile Film Festival that's happening at 4:30 at that college. And then this International Poetry Night is happening at 4:30. And that's about it is going on, at least as far as what I've got. So that's fun. And then I have a calendar version also of it too. So doing more stuff with AI, the more stuff I do, it's really cool. It is obviously like weird and evil, and it's the end of the world. I think anybody that's following any AI stuff knows that like we're on the precipice of like a complete societal change, probably for the worse. But so with everything I do, I'm constantly sort of punctuated by my own feeling of like, dude, do I just go like Amish style? Is this where I just throw the wooden shoe into the machine and I get off the merry-go-round and like buy some land? And oh, this is interesting too. Using AI to ask AI to do a research project, like where's the best place for affordable land in the event that society collapses, you know, and like I just needed to like hunt deer and survive off of deer in spring water. The answer is the Ozarks around Missouri or Arkansas, by the way, according to my AI research. It's quite meta, and in the most academic meaning of that term. Oh, you guys. So okay, so that's that. So now the news segment. Man, it's 3:20 already. Okay, I started strong. So now my news segment. Let's go back here to Dallas Big. All right, so here's the news segment. How did I get into all that? Well, the AI is preparing a news segment for me. We have it's essentially like what's coming up and what has happened. So here, I know one of the first things we'll do is where is that? Let's check out some Augie Meyers. So Augie Meyers, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Augie Meyers passed away on March 7th, a couple weeks ago. And Augie was the last surviving member of the Texas Tornadoes. Here is, let's see, a little tribute to Augie here. Here's a news story. Let's watch this news story about Augie on your San Antonio news source.
The Texas music community is mourning the loss of legendary musician, songwriter, and actor Augie Meyers.
According to his Facebook page, the Texas legend passed away peacefully in his sleep on Sunday at the age of 85.
KENS 5 reporter Mike Jimenez spoke with people in the music industry who say his music will continue to live on.
That's our man right there, Augie Meyers. Augie Meyers has left the stage.
Fans and musicians alike are remembering the life of Augie Meyers. The iconic musician and songwriter was born in San Antonio in May of 1940 and rose to fame in the 1960s as a founding member of the Sir Douglas Quintet, alongside friend Doug Sahm.
Everybody thought they were from Britain. And of course, they were booking them all over the place. When they got there, they saw a bunch of kids from Texas and said, "What's going on here?" "Well, we're here already. You might as well let us play."
Meyers was also known for his blending of rock, conjunto, Tex-Mex sounds using a Vox Continental organ and distinctive keyboard sound. He went on to score hits including Mendocino, Velma from Selma, and Nuevo Laredo, an iconic hit. Hey baby, ¿qué pasó?
San Antonio is missing him now, but we got to pay homage to him because he was a hero for all of us here in the music industry, a big contributor.
In the 1990s, Meyers co-founded the Texas Tornadoes alongside icons Flaco Jimenez and Freddie Fender. Flaco's brother Santiago Jimenez said Meyers was a good musician, piano player, and a great man.
Yeah, we lost a friend, a musician, icon.
Even after Meyers rose to fame, friend Joe Trevino with Blue Cat Recording says he still remained humble.
So we couldn't go anywhere without people just coming over and asking for an autograph or recalling a story of him from way back, you know, and he was always gracious, man. Nobody left without feeling like they were treated well, you know.
Over at Del Bravo Records, owner Irma Gutierrez says she remembers meeting Meyers when he came into her store and says his passing is a great loss for the music industry, and she gets chills thinking of him.
He was everywhere, mixing the Texas sound with conjunto, and it all just came together and blended perfectly.
KENS 5's Sue Kalberg says she remembers Meyers, who grew up in the same East Side neighborhood as her father, whom he would visit at a nursing home.
All the caregivers said, when Augie Meyers shows up, Justin just lights up. And everybody thinks about him as a musician, but I think about him as a lifelong friend who was kind to my dad.
And now the San Antonio portion of the program. Boy, we could have a cheering match here, man. We got Texas all over the place here.
So there we got Augie on the little tiny accordion.
But this next song is very important. Would you give me a drum roll, Ernie? Would you give me a drum roll? This does a song, if you're from South Texas, you can rise as we do the San Antonio National Anthem. Here we go. Hey baby, ¿qué pasó? Thought I was your only vato. Hey baby, ¿qué pasó? Won't you give me un beso? Come on, baby, turn around. Ooh, yeah. Let me show you how I feel. Don't you know that I love you? And my corazón is real. Hey, baby, ¿qué pasó? Thought I was your only vato. Hey, baby, ¿qué pasó? Won't you give me un beso? pasó? Thought I was your only vato. Hey baby, ¿qué pasó? Won't you give me un beso? Come on baby, turn around. Let me show you how I feel. Don't you know that I love you? Woo-hoo, yeah. And my corazón is real. Hey baby, ¿qué pasó? Thought I was your only vato. Hey baby, ¿qué pasó? Won't you give me un beso? Y'all sing it one time. Hey baby, ¿qué pasó? That's okay, vato, but you ain't got a microphone out there, so you're gonna have to do it a little bit louder.
Hey baby, ¿qué pasó?
That's that one on. Won't you give me un beso? Thought I was your only vato. Hey baby, ¿qué pasó? Won't you give me un beso?
All right, well, that's killing. All right, so just a couple more news things here. So one of the things, well, I didn't really have a news segment until recently. Let's see. Now, what in the world is playing? Oh, okay. Here we go. This is what I wanted to play. But why is it over here? There we go. Okay. Yes. Okay, so there's a wonderful, really fantastic accordion player and pianist and composer in New York City, based out of New York City, who's been concertizing around, named Ben Rosenblum, and we'll see Ben in a minute. And I'm sure that we've seen Ben a little bit on the stream, though not nearly enough. He's really a phenomenal talent. He went to one of the big jazz schools in New York City. I forget which one. It's Juilliard or New School, one of them. Anyways, he released a record here in February that we didn't cover, and I wanted to play probably some of one of these. Let's see. Yeah, we'll listen to the whole thing. So this is a video from the recording. Looks like, I don't know, they recorded in upstate or who knows where. Not in New York City, though. This is called Merengue X Cross Fantasy or whatever. This is from his new record. Downbeat gave this record 4.5 stars. And I know there's a review. He's been interviewed also. He has some good press. Ben is a bad dude. He's a bad musician. Why is the video not on the accordion player? There you go. Fantastic. Yeah. Really sick solo too. And as Ben's also a wonderful pianist. So that's a new album on all the streaming services for you guys to check out. Another thing to cover, this is Classic FM is highlighting let's see, Julien Beautemps as their artist to watch. Let's see, Rising Stars in 2026. So I thought, known for his virtuosity and clever arrangements for the accordion, the French 26-year-old has reimagined major works from Rhapsody in Blue to Ravel's Bolero for accordion and guitar. His album Symphonies features his own works as well as an accordion-led rendition of Mozart's Requiem. So let's see what we can find on YouTube for Julien Beautemps. I wonder if he knows Jacques and Natalie. Okay. Well, looks like maybe we've watched this one before, or maybe his editing just put red at the bottom. I can't tell. 4 years ago. Let's see what's the most recent here. Sonata number 1. Cool. These are all cool. Do we want to watch solo accordion or accordion with violin? Original compositions. Let's do let's watch this one. Well, let me see. How long is that actually? This is 11 minutes. Well, we'll watch some of this, not all of it. He's just very still. It didn't freeze. He's like getting into the zone. Okay, I'm gonna fade this out, but very, very, very cool. I assume this is, yeah, an original composition. Preludium Aeternum can be defined as a requiem, inspired by the music of J.S. Bach, his art of switching from a part to another in a liquid and cyclic way, in the same dynamic as the pace of walking. Inclusion of liturgical cantics from Catholic Church create a psychedelic universe where you never know where you go and where you are from. Yeah. Cool. Very neat to see somebody composing and somebody so new new to their start as with a long life ahead of them. Very cool. Okay. In today's live stream, so we're going to continue forward. Let's see. I will move to Dallas Big, which is how it's called. So, next on the live stream, I'm not sure if I have debuted this on the live stream yet. I don't recall if I have. But this is a beautiful bell tuna acoustic accordion. Let's see. Let me set this down very carefully. And there we go. That is, oh boy. There we go. Maybe a little higher. Yeah, that's good. All right. This accordion is on loan to me, lent very generously and, from Liberty Bellows in Philadelphia. I gave Mike a call, who I've known for many years now, almost as long as I've been playing accordion or trying to, pursue it, and almost as long as his shop has been around in Philadelphia. And I just called him up to ask him some questions about MIDI in general. What do you know about the systems, and what would you recommend, and all that kind of stuff. And I told him what I was going to do with it, which is that I have been working with the help of AI on a visualizer for the accordion. And I want to use the visualizer in a couple of different ways. One, in teaching. So to be able to show something that will show a diagram of the basses and light them up. These visualizers exist for other instruments. I've seen them for bandoneon. I've seen them for various kinds of button accordions, and there's a bunch of visualizer apps you can get too, for your iPhone and tablet and stuff like that. But I couldn't find anything off the shelf for such a thing. So for live playing, and then also for creating, learning materials, and I thought it would be really cool if somebody had sheet music, especially a music XML or a MuseScore file for accordion that they could throw into this, and then just see how everything lights up. And so I started with the assistance of AI as a tool. It really is true that the AI is like an assistant. I am still reluctant to personify it and to imbue it with human emotions and a personality like that. But I find the more I work with it, the more I find that it is useful to think of it as sort of a college intern. And I'm not the first one to think about things like that. But anyways, the AI, I said, hey, could you build such a thing? And it was like, yeah. And then I just gave it a diagram of the chart of the basses. And my first build was to build a visualizer for sheet music. So I found some sheet music that I had written. I think Monomon de Saint-Jean I had as a music XML file. And I loaded that into that, and it started working. I was like, holy cow. So it was starting to go. And so then I thought, okay, that was maybe a month or so ago, month and a half. I can't remember. I got to look at a text to Heather because I started texting her about it. Just a student and a friend of mine. And so then I was like, oh shoot. Okay. So the next step for me now is to actually get a MIDI accordion. So I saw Alex Meixner at the Guy Klusevsek Remembrance event about a month ago. And I asked Alex, because Alex uses a MIDI accordion for his polka gigs. And I said, hey, I picked his brain. And he said, well, I use a guy in Cleveland who does all my MIDI stuff. He's a great guy. He's a great technician. He is also an accordion player. Give him a call. So I gave that guy a call, and he was super nice. and he's over in Cleveland, however, many hours away, and he has something. He has an instrument that he's selling for a great price, but I thought, well, okay, wait. That's still, I'd have to either have him ship it to me and stuff, and I haven't tested anything yet. I don't even know if this will work. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just kind of slow that down, not just buy something first for thousands of dollars, but figure out if this is going to work. So I called up Liberty Bellows, who I just said I've known for a long time, and I said, hey, Mike, like, what do you know? Like, because there are multiple systems out there. This is a music tech system. It's called a King. I think King is the model of this music tech. I know music tech also for doing internal microphone systems, very similar to what harmonic microphone does. And I've owned accordions that have had music tech mics, built-in mics in them before. Anyways, so Mike said, well, we have this, and he said, well, if you want, I would just lend you one. And so because of this lend, and he said also, if you know anybody that wants to purchase it, certainly, well, we would, first of all, you'd have to give it back sooner and we'll have to sell it. But also, pass the word along. So I'm doing that. I wanted to just show you guys the acoustic. See, my thing is I'm an acoustic accordion player in the sense that the digital sound is just not what turns me on about accordion. It's not my thing. So I love the idea that I can get these signals and do stuff with it, but I'm still all about the acoustic. So this is, look at that beautiful middle. It's got such a beautiful middle. Here's the other two. That one. So I thought I would plug, if anyone's looking for a really beautiful one low, three middle. Beltuna is a phenomenal brand. I thought I would make sure that I plugged it because I'm so grateful for the lend, and it's a wonderful accordion. That's the driest, which sounds like good for Irish music to my ear. I'm not an expert on it, but. XBN says they could listen to that all afternoon. I know, it's a beautiful accordion. I hope that I have. Do you guys hear this left-hand mic? Oh yeah, you must. Let's see. I gotta get that out of the monitors though. Hang on one second. Loop back. Let's see if that one. Yeah, that's in there. And two. I just gotta take it out of the speakers really quick. Get out of the speakers. Okay. So I wanted to. My dream is I'm building, and I'll show you guys what as I'm building it. But my dream that I'm working on slowly, because it takes a lot of testing and correcting and teaching the AI how to work. But I can turn on the video camera. I can record a lesson on how to do this, how to do that, whatever I want, a teaching lesson. I save it. I record the lesson. So the audio, you're hearing the beautiful acoustic accordion, this one, or if I get a different acoustic accordion, or if I get MIDI installed in my other accordion that I prefer to put, the jazz accordion. This is not tone chambered, so it's not the perfect sound for jazz accordion, but it's a beautiful folk accordion. Anyways, and then so the MIDI signals are going in, and the MIDI file is getting saved. The MIDI, information, ons and offs and all that kind of stuff for both hands. And then I've built a system that turns that into sheet music without me having to do all of the time and labor to notate it. And then all kinds of other crazy stuff. So I'm working on that slowly. It started to work. I just have been kind of sidelined. So let me show you the visualizer, and then from the visualizer we'll just go right into the kind of main segment for today, which is the segment on on Django and June, and then we'll finish up with the book club, Molly Gebrian's amazing book. So, so this is the visualizer that I was talking about. So this is why. Let's see. Oh, and it's not on. I got to turn it on. So that this, you guys can't see, but there's like a little metal box over here that you plug in to, an outlet, 3-prong. A cable goes out of the bottom of the accordion into the MIDI box, and then you can see that now. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you can see that there's a red light. I haven't played with any of this stuff because I don't really care. I'm not trying to get. I'm not trying to use this for performance. I'm just trying to put a signal into the computer. So now we should have. Yes, there we go. So it's now lighting up. This is so cool. So harmony. So if I'm teaching some chords, it knows what the chords are. How cool is that? I would call it something different. See, so I would call this a C minor major 7, so I'd have to teach it that. It's technically right, but I would say, okay, if a chord has both this isn't a E flat augmented. It's definitely something different, but that's okay. C minor major 7. Okay, now let's get to the coolest part, which is the left hand. So over here, I'm teaching it stuff. So one of the things that's weird about this is the way it handles the counter basses. So I built this little I call it curtains. I said, hey, can you make curtains can you add this feature where it's curtains that pull in from the left and right sides? Because you'll see what happens is it doesn't know the Stradella signals. It doesn't know where the C is being played. So it knows that it's possible to have C's, both the green C's and the blue C's. Let me make this even bigger. Let's see. I'll move the comments over here. Chat, you can come up here. So there's no way, because there's only 12 bass sensors. The accordion only has like 12 bass notes, and those are doors that open. This is stuff that I've learned from talking to the MIDI people, Mike at Liberty Bellows, and the other guy in Cleveland, whose name I can't remember, Justin. I should be giving him a shout out right now. I will have that name next week. I'll tell you guys his name and business in case you're interested. You're out there. I mean, no disrespect. I just don't remember his name. Justin? I want to say it's Justin, but it might not be. Anyways, so anyways. There are only like 12 sensors, even though each note is multiple places on the accordion, right? They all connect, all roads lead to Rome. They all connect to the same just single door that opens up for C, and that's where the sensor is, on that single door. So I don't think there are any acoustic MIDI systems, like for my situation, that have sensors on the buttons, at least not that anybody that I've talked to knows about yet. So you get something that looks really crazy like that, and I feel like for a student, it's like this. There's so much visual information here that that's not really helpful either. So instead, what I could do, here's my temporary solution, is to say, okay, well, when you play a major scale, you really only need 4 columns, and we're gonna do that C, and now it looks okay. Now that's useful. So that's my pragmatic fix for that, right? And I think there are situational things that you could tell it, and all sorts of things. The diminished, it gets really confused. I haven't spent a whole lot of time programming this, which we'll need to do. Okay, knew that one. There we go. See, it's starting to. Not bad. It's doing pretty good, actually. When I get multiple notes in there, it starts to get confused. Yeah, see, it's confused there because it's adding the F sharp in. I need to tell it, don't add in the bass note when you're calculating what diminished chord. And then so it has over here, it tells you the formula of buttons, and then over here it tells you the chord symbol, which is stuff that everybody wants to know at some point or another. So I'll play the same tune with a beautiful musette. Oh, okay, and then I have a combined version. So this is still very much in the prototype stage. Let's see, let me get that to come up. There we go. See, it's really crazy. It's like it's so much that it's not really helpful. So let's see. I probably won't be playing A flat, and I probably won't be playing. We'll see. We'll see if I go out of this range. So this will probably help. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I love Stradella. I love freebase too, but I also love Stradella. It's really neat. They're both cool. Anyway, so I do feel like it's not as useful as it could be because we're seeing all of those, you know, the alternate fingerings, right? So it's like if I'm trying to use this for learning purposes, teaching purposes, like, well, it's not as cool as it could be. So I'm trying to think of different ways. You could teach it like a probability rule set to say, okay, if you're analyzing what I'm playing as I'm playing it, and it seems like I'm playing a C major scale, then, you know, put the E on the counter bass instead of on the fundamental bass, because that's the way I play C major scale most of the time, you know. But then there's a lot of cases where I don't play it like that, and if I'm just, I don't know, there are so many situations. And then the other consequent thought of that, which I haven't even tried this yet, but is like that would that add a level of latency to this whole thing as well? So anyways, there's, I mean, the really cool thing is like there's so much you could possibly do with this. You could visualize it all sorts of different ways. You could like be inside of a cube and see the harmonies light up and all kinds of crazy stuff. I feel like also I could just tell it what key I'm in and just say, well, hey, I'm playing in this tonality. But then that's really hard to do because I like to play a lot of chromatic stuff, you know, side steps, which involve, so that's like a C7. So really, that might not actually help, at least not for the right hand, but the left hand. Okay. All right. Well, now see, now I'm having fun playing, so my brain's kind of like going into playing mode. Alrighty. Let's get into today's big topic, which is starting this road to Django in June. I did this last year in, I don't know, like April and May, maybe a couple months. Every week I would do a new tune. So Django in June is an adult music camp, and it's the music of Django Reinhardt, which is called Gypsy Jazz, or Jazz Manouche, or Django music. I like that one too. And I figured today I would just sort of start it up. I didn't have a ton of time to prepare, so I just figured, well, this is just a review of what is Django music. So Django music, we could listen to examples and stuff, but I feel like I just would rather play. I notice I have a Dutch angle here on the camera. Let me fix that. It's kind of cool, kind of annoying. There we go. All right, so, oh, now it's too low. All right, there. Here, yes, a little higher. Okay. Oh boy, again. There we go. Okay, so Django music, there's a rhythm called la pompe. So it's held together by this 4/4. here. That's an example of how an accordion player would play la pompe. Let me play an example. Minor swing. You can hear it. These are not new topics for us. Try to find sort of a traditional way that it's played. And you can hear that. Okay, so as far as a little survey of important things about gypsy jazz, the idea of pompe is maybe the most important for anybody playing this music to learn. Absolutely the guitar players, because guitar is so huge in this genre. You can't really have a gypsy jazz group without having a guitarist playing la pompe, in my opinion. I think then you would just be doing the repertoire of gypsy jazz, but not in the gypsy jazz style. So I just got an inquiry to play a duo gig with a gypsy jazz guitar player, where I assume we would do a lot of these tunes. And when I'm playing the melody, he'll be doing the guitarist, Michael. He'll be going voom chat voom chat voom chat voom chat voom chat voom chat, and they're so amazing, and all this other movement and stuff. And then when my melody is over or my solo is over, I'll take over. And you can do a lot of different stuff in there, inside of that. But it's a really great skill to learn and practice all accompaniment is. And just as far as all swing, if you want to play, any kind of swing feeling, boom, checka boom, getting those quarter notes, getting a skill of being able to play quarter notes. May as well use the analyzer, or the visualizer rather. Ba-doop-doom, there we go. Got off my little thing there. So that's what you want to do when there is no guitar playing that. And it's important to know that that's what's going on. So you can do that in two hands. So combining the idea of comping in the right hand with rhythm accompaniment with like sort of a la pompe in the left hand. So I'm keeping, and this is an easy thing to do, but it's a really badass thing to do. It's great. It's really cool. You're your own little kind of accompaniment orchestra, which is really fun. So just for what you can do, and skills to practice as an overview, like learn about the la pompe. Pompe means pump in French, and I've heard it's because of like the squeeze of the hand, although that's kind of in dispute. Other people say no, but anyways, and this is the way that we can sort of mimic it. You hear Ludovic Beyer, who's one of the greats in this genre, playing a really, really wonderful La Pompe. And I had always thought, okay, never play La Pompe. If the guitarists are playing it, never, never, ever play it. Because when I played it, it never sounded good. And hearing other people, accordion players playing La Pompe, usually makes it sound worse. But then I played a Django Fest Northwest, which is out on Whidbey Island, an island off of like Seattle up there, and they have this really amazing, small but really, really amazing international Django festival. And I got to play with Ludovic and this big jam session probably on minor swing and other stuff at the end of the concert. And Ludovic did play La Pompe along with everybody, and I was like, oh shit, okay, well look, if he's doing it, it must be okay to do it, as long as you can nail it, with other people. So now I do kind of, I will play it, not too loud. I'm usually kind of like deferring a little bit. What's up, Gzvor? How you doing? So then we talk about the other idea of comping. So comping is something that's in all, I'm glad to hear you're doing great. I saw you on social media. Looks like you're doing very well. Happy to hear it. So the idea of comping is where you're playing kind of punchy chords. Like think of the way like a pianist would sort of play. Like, You can move the chords around. Closed position, rootless, right? Close or far. Look at that big stretch. Here. You could do long things. And all of that is happening at the same time the accompaniment is. Right? So I could also, again, going back to the other idea, is double it. So now my hands are doing locked hand stuff, but I have melodies and movement because I have movement here. Right? Even though my left hand isn't going to do that, although it could. But my left hand is probably just going to stay on A minor, A minor, A minor, A minor, D minor, D minor, D, 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 E, 7, E, 7, E, E, A, right? A. Like that. So accompaniment is the most important thing that an accordion player does. And we're looking at minor swing, which is a relatively simple tune. It doesn't really get simpler than that in terms of gypsy jazz. And so it's usually a good and very common starter tune. So then talking about what you do more commonly, especially at Django in June, you don't have to do the thing that the guitar players are doing because they're going to do it. They're everywhere. There's like 10 accordion players and like 200 guitar players. There's 20 violinists, you know. There's one bass player, and maybe a few clarinet players and a trumpet player and stuff. But mostly it's just a guitar. You know, mostly it's guitar players. There's probably more like 40 violinists. Anyway, so when you have the La Pompe provided, which is the most common scenario in a real Django gypsy jazz kind of setting, then what you want to do is you want to comp on top of that. So here's an example of a backing track. I'll switch to my So there, I don't know how that came through, if you could hear everything. What's up, Hartman? So there you can hear how the parts go together, the comping and then the rhythm. So I have, like, because I'm a teacher, and in order to teach, it's nice to have terms and terminology, and then that makes you think about what you're doing more, and you're very self-reflective when you're trying to be a good teacher. Like, well, what am I doing? How do I do that? You know, what's the, you know? And then also, I think teaching can make you a better learner for some people. For me, it does. So I've separated that accompaniment into two different ideas. One is playing time. And playing time is playing a repetitive thing. So La Pompe is playing time. Right. The other one is comping. And comping is playing asymmetrically. It can be about sort of finding the spaces in between phrases that a melodist is playing, or a soloist, somebody improvising a melody, is playing. It can be about creating a sympathetic, a sort of rhythmic characteristic that helps out the general rhythm that's going on. And it can also be about kind of creating a supportive, especially in the case of a ballad. There's a tune called Nuage. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So that's kind of a medium ballad. It's not super slow, but that's a medium ballad. And if I can find a backing track to that, but so La Pompe is still going to play in the case of a ballad. This is a ballad that Django wrote called Nuage, which means clouds. Do I see any nuage? I do not. So my left hand is simulating the accompaniment, the rhythm, La Pompe. So I might, as my accompaniment, my comping on the accordion, I might be doing long held chords. To the bisa. And I'll show you guys the visualizer as I'm doing this. Here and accordions here. I like this accordion has a really big air release button. That's really nice. You can close the bellows. Okay. As I like almost halfway through. Boda badu den da, badu dum di la. Boda badu den da, badu da, do da. Boda ba ba. There it is. Badu da ba. Boda badu den da, badu de, biom, boda ba 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 bum. So your comping does not always have to be so punchy and asymmetrical like that. It could also be like long held, but it just needs to be the right thing for the right scenario, the right situation. And in order to do that, you got to know your chords. And so henceforth, that's why I put all the thought and stuff into the big course of jazz chords and harmony for the accordion. And I did the first sprint, which is really phenomenally helpful from my perspective, because now we have the idea of tonality. We have these ideas of like, okay, everything is a Roman numeral and it's intended to be moved around. And we have like this vocabulary, and we've worked only in the key of C major for 251, 1625, etc. A lot of these other things. But now we have like, okay, I understand how like these songs are collections of these things. And of course, there's so much additional steps to go, but that's a wonderful foundation. And that's the majority of what we're doing in most of these musics as an accordion player in an ensemble situation, because we're a chordal instrument. We are a chordal instrument. We're also, a melodic instrument, but we're a chordal instrument. So we end up doing that more than everything else, especially in a Django music situation. Okay, so then talking about other things we do, we play the melody and we take solos. And I think those are much more obvious. I would say that, there are kind of certain differences about the style which have everything to do with the accompaniment, the groove that you're playing on. So you can really feel, I want to point out in this play along, you don't need to see it, it's just the minor swing play along, but how strong 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, everything, do da ga di da ga do da ga di da ga do da ga di da da 1, 2, 3, 4 da do da da di da, as opposed to a what we call like a straight ahead backing track would be, or playing this in a different kind of jazz scenario where you have drums. When you have drums, a lot of times in swing, it's a more 40s, 50s style, where you have a ride cymbal, ding ding ding, gang ding ding ding, gang ding ding gang ding gang ding gang, ba-doom ba-doom doom doom ba-doom boom 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 ba-doom ba-doom boom da boom da dee dee dang dee da dee da dee dee get it. So it's the emphasis is not so much on 1, 2, 3, 4, a boom jack 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. It's not like that. It's boom ba ding ga da dee da do da dee da boom da beat ba. A lot of this syncopated stuff on upbeats, and there are downbeats, and certainly the downbeats are being played, but that's not where the emphasis are, and certainly not like so much abundant down, 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 which is really characteristic of the feeling. And because that's the characteristic feeling, the way that we would improvise over it or play the melody, like I'll play the melody to the tune. And really, this tune is kind of unique in that. You know what? Let's go to Honeysuckle Rose. So this is great because I can find a backing track for this, and then I can find a straight ahead backing track for it. So this is a really commonly played tune in a Django repertoire. Honeysuckle Rose in the key of F. Django recorded it with Stefan Grappelli. And you can hear that same down, 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 down. Ba-dum, bum, ba-da-ba-doop, dip. So the way that I'm phrasing, and I think, comparing the two, let's look for another one. And usually when you play the same tune in a different style of jazz, it's in a different key. So when we do this in straight ahead jazz, Honeysuckle Rose, straight ahead, backing track. Let's see. Medium swing. So usually it's in the key of A flat and not F. Oh, this is also an F. Okay, cool. Well, that's good for me. Let me see if I can find a better backing track though. I don't want jazz manouche though. I want. Let's see what this is.
A 1, 2, 3, 4.
There you go. So we do hear the bass in a 2 feel, bum 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 bum, but the rhythm isn't so vroom chat vroom. It's not quarter quarter quarter. Let's see what keys it. Okay, same key. So everything is a lot more on the and dude. And then if I was to take a solo, yeah, cool. Oh, they go up fast up there, which is a common little thing to do. So just the feel dictates the phrasing, and the feel of that straight ahead. Sorry, I was trying to. Oh yeah, you guys did see the visualizer. The feel of that straight ahead thing is different than the pomp, boom, cha, boom, cha, boom, cha, boom, cha, boom, cha, which really dictates the way that you need to phrase and feel and comp and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so just the last little thing to talk about before I switch into the final segment in today's show is just kind of a preview of what we're going to do. So we're going to get into the Django in June website. Let me move myself over here. Hello. And this is, if you want to go to camp or really you just want to learn this music, this is like one of the best websites. So go to the Get Ready tab. You don't have to like be a member or anything. And every year they curate usually a lot of the same tunes. There's tier 1 tunes and tier 2 tunes. And tier 1 is for people who are brand new to it. You want to know like the ones that get called all the time, like the tunes that you really should know and should start with. And these are the ones that I'm going to be choosing to create my curriculum off of. So All of Me, Djangology, which is a cool 1625. I Can't Give You Anything But Love. Yeah, these tunes that I have played many times. So, and then there are some that were there last year. So Mit Murgaiga, Irisha was there last year. Black and White was there last year. But then new, I think, is Time on My Hands, Topsy, and by Dir var es immer so schön, which is a really beautiful ballad that I've never committed to memory. Really pretty. But that's what... I'm excited to learn that. So these are like for the old heads, the returning students, as they say in the Vipassana meditation. So when you're kind of established and you're good with the tier 1 tunes, you're like, okay, I'm looking for something cool, a little B-side, not the normal thing. And these are all chosen by the featured artists from Europe. And they have, coming from Europe, Fabi Lafretin, who's very, very famous and beloved by a lot of guitarists that I know consider him their favorite. Cha Limburger is just an unbelievable musician and spirit. I don't know Gwen Kehu. William Brunard has been there in past years. He is just a beast of a musician. I'm not going to name everybody here, but lots of really look at Sammy. Yeah. Let's see. Who's on violin? Bastien Ribot. He's a really hot shot contemporary Parisian. Jason Anik is unbelievable American accordionist. I don't know Ilana. I'm sure she's badass. Vilmos is back. He was there with Cha last year. Here's me. Giacomo, amazing clarinetist. Matt Flinner. I don't remember if I played with Matt Flinner there, but I'm sure he's just a badass. So anyways, that is the roster and sort of how the thing works. So going forward, in the next weeks, I'll choose probably one tune. I think that's good to dig into one tune. And what's easy for me, and I think might be nice and fun, is I'll just kind of deconstruct, or I won't deconstruct it, but I'll go through all the things. And with the visualizer now, I can show you guys, the chords, and if they're, like, a lot of these tunes have sort of important harmonic movement that we want to make sure is chord shapes we want to do, the style that I have that I would like maybe ornament the melodies with, where I would put harmonies under the melodies, that sort of stuff, and how I would comp, and then of course how I might like work out melodies. And we can also listen to versions by the featured artists of these tunes. So that's what's gonna happen. We'll go through. And I gotta look at how many weeks I have actually. If I have April, that's only 8 weeks. So I probably will do 2 tunes per week. So that's what's going on. I have to go pee, so I'm going to put on... Isn't that gross? Why did I say that to the internet? Sorry. But anyways, I'm going to put on a YouTube video while I go do that. And I'll be back, and we'll finish up this hour with the book club. Okay, so what should we watch? Why don't we watch... Let's see. How about... Let's see what's new with Marcel Lafleur, who's like one of my absolute favorites in all genres, and especially French jazz and manouche. Let's see what's new from him. They used to have by upload date, sort by upload date, but they don't have that anymore. Let's just see what has been uploaded by Marcel this week. Nothing. How about this month? Anything? Anything by Marcel? It's not refreshing. Okay, try that again. Let's see this year. Okay. Whoa, okay. I don't think I've heard this one.
Donc le 18 octobre, on va bien jouer au bateau du Rhin avec Jean-Marc Robin et Jean-Yves Guillaume. Comme invité, on aura Frank Wolf au saxophone. Et on jouera tout l'album entièrement avec quelques standards. Vous voyez, j'adore ces deux musiciens, eux ils me disent oui.
Returned. All right. Do we have one more of Marcel with Wawa Adler? Oh, this is old. This is cool. From it was posted 6 months ago, but it's from 2007, which is like 20 years ago. Cool.
Il est revenu à la tradition, il était normal qu'on lui fasse une vraie invitation cette année avec son nouveau projet, ça s'appelle Back to the Roots, d'un monsieur que l'on respecte beaucoup, qui s'appelle Marcel Lafleur. On peut applaudir. Voici Wawa Adler et Marcel Lafleur.
Assis devant! Assis! Assis devant!
I'm sorry to cut off Marcel, but we got to get to this third segment over here. About our wonderful book. Let me get into my iPad and get it on the screen. The book club. This was a pretty cool chapter. Let's see. Okay, now I can move this a little bit more normal. There we go. It's pretty good. All right, I'll go over here. iPad. Window capture. Let's see. This is QuickTime. I have to open QuickTime. That was fun to play the Gypsy Jazz. It's kind of weird. I haven't played it in a while. Like too long actually. It's gonna be nice not to do that big jazz chords class. It was great to do it and make all the material and have all the great teaching. It's gonna be nice to have like a break from that because it's kind of a lot to manage and think about. And I think I give myself a lot of stress around it. I want it to be good. Okay, yes, we're good here. So it's gonna be nice to maybe have a little bit more time in addition to all the wonderful teaching that I love to do, to be playing a little bit more accordion. All right. So this is this wonderful book, as I'm sure all of you know, called Learn Faster, Perform Better by Dr. Molly Gebrian. Phenomenal book. We've learned so much in this. And last week she talked about essentially creating variations in your practice, and how creating variations can help you, learn deeper and better. Can help you learn to learn faster and perform better. Hey, and in this chapter she's talking about mental practice, which I think we've all heard about, right? Like we know like skiers and athletes and all this kind of things, Olympic athletes. I just watched a documentary. We went to something, they were playing the Banff, I think it's called the Outdoor Film Festival from Banff, Canada. And it's a touring like thing, and the what's it called? Environmental Action Club at the local community college here was sponsoring that event. So it was like $30 and you could see this. It was like 2 hours of films. And they were all amazing documentaries. Like a good documentary tells you a story and it's the human people and it's a little manipulative, but not too much. And these were all about people doing things essentially outdoors. It was crazy, like this crazy Canadian island, like almost at Greenland, like way up there. This like young couple in their 30s who were like super outdoor people. A couple of brothers from Thailand who are rock climbers. The most amazing documentary was about mountain bikers who were paraplegic, who were using special kinds of mountain bikes, and the story, it was their stories and the story of creating the world's first accessible course for people riding that kind of bicycle, and many other documentaries. Anyways, why did I think of that? Because at one point in the documentary, the rock climbing brothers were like, it was like showing them at competitions in France and Europe and stuff, and like they were like visualizing their holds and the route and all that kind of stuff. And I thought of that because I had just seen it this weekend. So that's what this is about. I don't think it's going to take me very long, although there's a lot of cool stuff in it. Essentially, the layout is she starts talking about how she starts the chapter talking about how, she was a little skeptical. Like it took her a little while to come to the idea, like to buy into the idea that you could imagine practicing and then it would work. Let me add the let's see, hang on. Let me add the comments here. There we go. Okay. There's the comments. Just like that. Alrighty, the chat. So, I'll get into it. I'll recite my stuff. This was cool. And I haven't really, I kind of like sped read it after I got back from the concert today. I had some string cheese and tea. And I was like, okay, can you do it? And I did it. Anyways, okay, so she said what is she saying? I got to remember here. Okay. I developed tendonitis in both wrists when she was 15 and she couldn't play. So she remembers she's telling us like stories of her teachers telling her, well, you better like use visualization to keep practicing while your hands are repairing. And she didn't. She was like, well, yeah, okay, sure, I'll do it. And I didn't. And then she talks about this study that she read about. And it's people who are non-musicians. So lay people. And they separated them into two groups. One group was able to practice the piano in a certain situation. The details, I forget. They're here. 2 hours a day for 5 days. She calls it physical practice versus imagined practice. Or no, mental practice, pardon me. The mental group was also practicing for 2 hours a day, but they were just imagining. And I was like, holy cow. This is one of the things where just to editorialize, I was like, can you imagine just being like a normal non-musician having to imagine practicing the piano for 2 hours a day for like for 5 days? That sounds like hell. I hope these people got compensated well for this study, because that just sounds boring as shit. Anyways, so the people who did the imaginative practice, they just imagined their fingers. She says they imagined the feeling of their fingers moving in the correct order. And then there was a third group that was a control group that did no practicing. So then every day at the end of the 2 hours, the researchers would have the students play, and they're supposed to play a 5-note scale in 16th notes. It doesn't say up and down or whatever, but is what I would suggest. And I keep hitting that minor third on the way down. There we go. Maybe like that, something like that. Oh, at quarter note equals 60. So tick, tick, somewhere around that tempo, I think. For 60, you just think of how fast the second hand on a clock ticks, right? Okay. So, and guess what? The people who imagined their practice did just as good as the people who actually got to touch a piano. And then let's see. So basically that study changed her total idea of that. When Molly Gabrian learned about that study, she was like, okay, maybe there is something to this. So she started her journey learning more about that. So now she starts talking about the parts of the brain, and this illustration is so cool. There are a couple of these illustrations which I just loved. I actually screenshotted this to somebody when I was reading it. So let me kind of clear this off. It's such a neat illustration. So it's showing the brain, and so she's talking about these two areas: the somatosensory cortex, which is on the left here, and the motor cortex. And so the somatosensory cortex is the feelings. Let's see. Let me just read it, what it does, so I don't mess this up. The motor cortex on the right actually controls the movements of the things that you see, right? And what we're supposed to take from this really cool, weird illustration is that the size of each little segment of the brain, see how you see the face there, like with its mouth open, that little chunk is way larger than the knee chunk, right? And the trunk and the shoulder and the arm, those are all smaller than the collective like head, face chunk that encompasses all that stuff. And so that means that like there's more of the brain involved in doing that sort of stuff. And over here, the somatosensory cortex is the feelings, the sensations, the nerve-ending feelings that are for all those things. And you can see the size of that as well. Literally the size of your brain that is related to those things, which is really cool. And so then she talks about how and so I've heard of the homunculus. through culture, but I did not know that this is what the homunculus is. I had no idea. And maybe it is something. Let me Google this really quick. Like, what is homunculus? Is homunculus always... I've just heard it used as like sort of an Okay, so it always is. Yeah, the homunculus is always... No, homunculus, a very small... Okay. A very small humanoid creature. Okay, so historically, a supposed microscopic but fully formed human being from which a fetus was formerly believed to develop. Okay, all right. So homunculus is many things in popular culture, but in science, this homunculus is what the human body looked like if the size of our body matched the size of the part of the brain that controls that part of the body, which I think is a really fun idea. Okay, so she's talking about that, and she's talking about that. Basically, scientists found, like, I think we would say that this is intuitively what we would think would be true, that they study violinists who are like really badass violinists, and they found that the part of their brain that was their left hand, where their left hand has to hit, all the strings and fretting and all that kind of stuff, was larger. That left hand part was larger in violinists than it was in non-violinists. And so from that, they started to, I guess, understand that the size of your brain for that area over here, the motor cortex, and the somatosensory cortex, because feeling and sensation is involved, those parts are can grow as you put practice and effort and use into things. So then she said that they also found, let's see, they did in the blue. Okay, so in addition to testing the playing ability each day, the researchers also measured the size area that controlled the okay, so that's right. Okay. So then when they found changes the study looked for, when they studied the people who actually physically practiced versus did the imagined practice, the mental practice, they found that not only did they perform just as good, their brains also grew as much as the people who did physical practice. So it's like we're getting evidence that mental practice really does have, similar benefits. And we're going to see at the end of the chapter that it's even more benefits when we combine it. So, okay, so whipping through this. Let's see. Okay, so she finishes up this sort of chapter on research and establishing that, like, this is something we should care about with the story of someone that was her professor, Carol Rodland. I have that in blue here. Carol, what kind of accident? She got into a taxi accident. We don't know the details of that, but taxi accident that made it impossible for her to practice for several months. And she really wanted to compete and win in this competition to play under Carol's favorite conductor, Dennis Russell Davies. And it was a competition at Juilliard, and they all had to play the same piece by Hindemith, this Der Schwinderer. Anyways, and Carol, basically, the narrative here is that Carol could only do mental practice. She could not, because of this injury, she literally could not do any violin actually playing practice, and she freaking won the competition. She won it by just mostly doing mental practice, and then I think 2 weeks before she was able to start like actually practicing, and it was not something that she had already learned, or at least the first movement wasn't. So that's pretty amazing. So she says, if that doesn't convince you that mental practice works, nothing will. So what is mental practice? And then this next part we can all do, provided that you're not driving or doing anything, where imagining stuff might be dangerous. So mental practice is hearing and feeling everything you need to be aware of when you play your instrument, but inside your head without actually doing it. So she starts to use descriptions, which are useful for us to understand, because she's going to give us like specific instructions about what's good kind of what is useful and beneficial kinds of mental practice and what is not. So She says for string players, we need to feel the fingers that we're playing. We need to feel the spacing between them. We need to feel what strings they're on, what position our hand is in. And I would say all that stuff is the same for accordion players, right? If I'm feeling, especially the buttons, right? Like, okay, oh, I need this thing that I'm playing. I can feel that marking on the E up there or whatever, the A flat, or there's no marking or whatever. I can feel that my finger is turned in if I'm just imagining it. I can feel my right hand position. I can feel the bellows moving on my leg. And she goes into more and more details. So then she talks about the quality of the sound that we want, imagining that. And she's helping us. She's being cool and compassionate, being like, if this freaks you out or you're struggling with this idea, don't worry. It's very normal. It'll get better. Like just start doing it. So let's do this exercise. Her first exercise, which is like very broad. She says, let's take something outside of music and as an example of just like how she would suggest to imagine it, to the mental practice. So pretend you're holding a beautiful, juicy, fresh orange in your hand. Feel the weight of that orange. Run the fingers of your other hand over the rind as you're holding that orange and feel the texture of the rind. Can you feel the little bumps on the surface of the orange skin? Now gently toss the orange back and forth between your hands. Can you feel the weight shift from one hand to the other? Can you feel what it feels like when the orange lands in your hand? Can you hear the sound that it makes when it lands in your hand? Now start to peel the orange. Can you smell the fragrance that comes out of the orange? Can you feel it tug on the tug of the rind pulling away from the fruit underneath? Does it come off easily or with more difficulty? Are the pieces coming off in little scraps or in one long piece? Keep peeling the orange, feeling the rind pull away from the fruit as clearly as you can. Can you hear the subtle sound that peeling the orange makes? Trick Munch, you didn't finish your, or maybe it didn't. I don't know if Birdie can share. I don't know if I'm being trolled or not, but Trick Munch has a comment, but it didn't all come into my chat thing, so I can't respond to you, Trick Munch. Okay. So anyways, so she's like developing this sort of thing. And so we start to see like the detail with which we should imagine, like in great detail, right? So again, she says, if you're new to mental practice, start with the aspect of playing that you find easiest to imagine. If it's your fingers on your instrument, pick a short passage that you can already play well and see if you can imagine your fingers moving at the right time. So can we all do that? Can we all take a moment, close our eyes, and pick a passage that you know super well and just imagine your fingers playing it? Okay. So then she says, after you have one layer, then start adding layers to it. So she says, for string layers, maybe you'll try to feel your fingers and the correct bowing, right? So maybe for us accordion players, we'll imagine not just our fingers on the instrument, the right hand, the left hand, but we'll feel the feeling of the bowing. Trick Munch's comment. I disagree with your premise, Trick Munch. I'm going to need to see your sample size for why do accordion players always generally talk about the instrument. I'm not sure. I suspect that this is the first time you're coming to this stream, Trick Munch, and maybe you're generalizing all accordion players from this stream. But in this stream, I do a book club every Tuesday, and this is the segment of the stream where I do the book club. So that's about as far as I can respond to that generalization. All right, so we're adding layers. So we might add the feeling of the bellows, right? What is the weight? Can you feel? Do your bellows crackle? Can you feel the weight of the bellows on your left leg? All that kind of stuff. Could be really cool. And then she says, just keep add another layer, to the detail of what you're imagining as you're playing that music that you know very well. And that's how you get to doing a really useful practice. So if you make it as clear as you can in your head, then it'll be so much easier to come back to the instrument. Oh, I appreciate that, Trick Munch, that you're being very respectful. I just don't know how to respond to that because I don't agree with you that I know a ton of accordion players and they don't always talk about the context of written notes. So I just can't respond to that. Anyways. Okay, so a cool comment from Courtney. I wish I could get Courtney's comment a little bit more. I need to make this larger. So I'll read Courtney's comment. So Courtney says, I have a hard time playing the bridge to Take 5. Yeah, dude. Bravo. I have a hard time playing all of Take 5. That's cool that you're rocking that. Oh, are you doing it in the original key? That is so gnarly on the piano accordion. I had a student learn it off of Robert Kennedy's arrangement. He found Robert Kennedy's arrangement. I don't know if you, Courtney, if you know Robert Kennedy in San Francisco, but in like the original key, it was so hard to play. Anyways, Courtney says, my hand feels like it's always not quite on top of it. I had a gig where I had to play this, and I did mental practice for a few days before, and the bridge flowed smoothly. That's amazing. And yes, I remember, like, the only time I've ever played that tune on an accordion is just kind of working it out with the student who wanted to learn it. And the bridge was gnarly, dude. Really, really gnarly. That is really cool. So Courtney, is mental practice something that you do regularly? And that's really cool. And I don't know if you've read this chapter of the book yet, but do you? I'm really curious how you do your mental practice. It's not something that I've ever really done. I think I like tried to do a little like, which is not even the same at all. Like just like sort of meditating on myself, like doing well on a performance or something, or just kind of like going through. But it really wasn't to the degree of. It wasn't like practicing. That's cool. So Courtney says he doesn't do it regularly, but when he remembers to do it, he does. That's really cool. You might be the first musician that I've met that I know actually already does mental practicing. I guess I always associate it with like sports, like at the Olympics, you see the skiers like with their like masks on, their stuff, like they're doing their thing or whatever. So I assume it must work, Courtney says, I just picture my fingers doing everything that they do in a very detailed way. It takes a lot longer than playing the piece. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So, we're wrapping this up. I do want to wrap this up. So we're over the 5 o'clock now. Okay. So now she's talking about combining, physical practice and mental practice. And basically what she says here is, it can be even better when you combine it, but if you have never played a piece before, you should not start with mental practice. That it only works when studied. It really only works if the parts of your brain, that control your nervous system, like have already like started to learn how that movement is of the music. And then you can start it like sort of early, but you have to do that first before you're going to get anything out of it, according to Molly Gebrian. So she has another, she has some more studies that show, let's look at this one. So this is what's really cool. So, okay, we have two groups of guitarists, right? This is the guitarists. Okay, so the physical practice people let's look at this. Physical practice, first day, only physical practice for 30 minutes and recorded. Mental practice group did a combination. So you got 20 minutes and 10 minutes. Same for days 2 through 6, 20 minutes and 10 minutes or versus 30 minutes physical only. Day 7, they only practiced. Then no practice until 10 days later. So they had this gap, which it seems like they do a lot to work on the like retention of stuff, which is what we care about, right? Isn't it so frustrating when a year later you're like, oh, does somebody want to play that piece? And you're like, oh man, I really learned that piece 3 years ago and now I've totally forgotten it. Dang it. If I could only play that piece right now with all of you. I feel like that's always the situation. It's like somebody like starts playing this piece and it's so cool, this little jam session happens. I'm like, shoot, I totally learned this for a project I had 5 years ago and I've forgotten it. Anyways, hey Jeanette, great to hear from you. And hey Craig, great to hear from you too. And that you've do you guys know each other, Jeanette and Craig? Is it a coincidence that you both I'm not gonna like what's called dox you, but you both live in the same area. Anyways, And I know, Jeanette, I saw your email. I haven't had a chance to respond to it. I'm so sorry. But this chapter is perfect for you. We have somebody in the chat that literally has a wrist injury from playing too much accordion and cannot practice, has to stop touching the accordion. So this is the perfect subject for you for this week, Jeanette. Read chapter 9 or 8, chapter 8. Okay. Trick Munch. Oh, it's okay, man. I think I didn't know if you were trolling me or not because I don't know, because I couldn't quite understand your question, and the internet is full of trolls. Usually not my stream though. So respect back to you. Let's see. So Trick Munch says, I have not seen button patterns in a grid chart the way guitar player learn. I did not intentionally mean to disrupt you. I thought my question was appropriate according to the moment. Oh, very cool. Well, right now we're doing the book club, and that's when your comment came in. I don't know if you're talking about the visualizer that we did earlier, which is it's just basically a bass chart that is very common. So if you're learning accordion, to have a chart of the basses is extremely common to refer to. And then I had AI code an app that lights up when you play an electric accordion. Okay, so back to this. So we're talking in the book. We're talking about. Oh, you guys do know each other. All right, Craig and Jeanette. Very cool. I'm glad. So combining physical practice and mental practice results in a lot better playing. So the white what do you call that, bar chart shows how much better the people that did a combination of those two practices, how much better they did compared to the people who only practice physically. So what we're to take from that is that we should do both. We should do physical practice and mental practice. All right. So I'm going to read this little red block. The researchers found that imagining how it would feel to play it was associated. Oh, sorry. So before this, so now she's going to tell us about like what we should imagine. And basically it boils down to that we want to imagine the feeling and we want to imagine the sound. And we do not want to imagine the visualization of the pattern. And that's because they've studied it and they found that people who just visualize are like, oh, what does it look like? That alone doesn't result in very much growth, extra growth. So it's not worth your time doing it. So yes, researchers found that imagining how it would feel and how it would sound both result, but they give you slightly different things in the studies. So people who focused on imagining how it feels was associated with how quickly the pianists move their hands, so resulting in faster movement. The pianists who focused on mental practice about how it sounded were better able to anticipate what they had to play next. And I think that is very useful for those of us that play jazz or other sort of genres and situations where we're making up our own stuff and we have to react in time to new things that are happening. You know, like, oh, I could make this up or that up based on the situation and how I'm feeling, right? That is very much sort of being in the moment, but thinking ahead, because you have to know what the next chord is to be able to make the new thing that you don't know what you're going to do next. So that's cool. Oh, Craig turned. Okay, right on. Well, thank you very much, Craig. Okay, so so that's that. And then the final thing, she talks about this idea of AOMI, which stands for action, observation, and motor imagery, which is basically watching somebody do the thing that you want to do and then doing some things with it. So she talks, this is really cool because this is like, I call this human patterning, and it's something that's like so powerful. We know that like, I teach on Zoom all day. That's the thing that I do. However, if you could take a live in-person lesson that's all the same content as a Zoom lesson, it's going to be better. There's something about, even because you just get more information, but being able to watch an accordion teacher play your part for you, if it's through video chat or through, live thing or a YouTube or whatever, is better, even if you're just watching them, they're not even explaining it. Your neurons are firing as you're watching them. And so that's what happened. She talks about this study where they were studying monkeys, which that always makes me sad because I imagine that the researchers like do horrible things to the monkeys. Anyways, that's my my own comment on that. But researchers are studying monkeys, and they noticed that they were studying the monkeys bending over, I guess, and then they noticed that when the researchers would bend over, the same parts of the monkey brains would light up when the researchers bent over. So there's like something sort of sympathetic going on, which is really interesting. So she says, what if you combine watching someone else with mental practice? So basically, she says, like, in this book, she's not going to go on to detailed research about that, but the advice is watch other people do things, and she tells you to do simultaneous observation. So the what is it, the acronym? AOMI. You're watching somebody do the thing that you want to be doing. So playing the song or whatever. And as you're watching, you're also imagining yourself doing it at the same time. So do those two things, which I've never done before in my life. I don't know. Yeah, I'll play something Trick Munch before I go. So I did play earlier in the stream, by the way, and the stream is recorded on, you're on Twitch. So the stream is recorded on Twitch. You can find me playing earlier. But let's see. So she talks about that, which is really cool because I feel like, well, I just saw Michael Bridge play, right? So it's like more sort of active listening, you know? You ever have those moments where you're in a concert, and this is not a commentary on how wonderful Michael Bridge was, but just in general, you're just like sort of watching a concert, and sometimes you need to find ways to stay engaged, you know? I feel like this is another one of those. What I find myself doing is if I'm not totally enraptured in the musical experience, like completely dissociated in ecstasy and bliss, sort of, you know, with the art itself, I've lost myself and I'm just in the art. If that's not happening and it's a music concert, what I try to do is start working it out with my ear, you know? Be like, oh, what's the melody? Can I hear those? You know, how much of this can I hear and transcribe just through listening? And that gives me sort of another way into it. But I feel like this gives me another thing to do in concerts as well. And I wonder if I would want to do that with anything else. Things like I can play piano. I don't practice it anymore. I haven't for years and years and years, but I can. Guitar I can't play, so that wouldn't really work to try to imagine myself playing guitar. But maybe I would. So anyway, then she talks about how there's like there's a lot of evidence of benefits of watching your own self. So watching and visualizing yourself doing this stuff. And then finally, I feel like this is the last thing that I want to read in this chapter, which is she says she has started to try something new here. Oops, I turned off the iPad. I'm so excited. I turned off the iPad. All right, so I've asked students to practice small sections mentally and in lessons for many years. Practice this, you know, demonstrate it, whatever. And she says, I also demonstrate for my students. Recently, Molly says she has started combining the two, having them practice mentally. Sorry, I left the mental. So in lessons for years, she's had students do mental practice. Like, hey, why don't you just try practicing that mentally right now? Do this. Are you imagining this? Da-da-da. And then so now she has them do both. So she says, while Molly demonstrates on the viola, she asks the student to watch her and imagine themselves doing it at the same time. And I'm going to try to start doing that. In fact, I have a lesson pretty soon, so maybe we'll do that if it's appropriate. Maybe we won't. So anyway, and she says she also recommends watch a video of themselves or her, the teacher, and practice mentally along with watching it. So that's cool. All right. Oh, Judy has the book. Cool. What's up, Judy? Alrighty, so I got to turn on the microphone again. Let's see. Should I put... Well, this is a little going out music. I have to turn on this... This accordion, that's on. Yeah, it's on. Okay. So this is this beautiful bell tuna. If you're just joining, this is the bell tuna that Liberty Bellows very kindly. I may as well put up the visualizer. What do I want to do here? Change this to here. The homunculus. Yeah, there we go. All right. There's the visualizer. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Sorry guys, I'm forgetting the melodies. Yes, Jermaine. There you go. On this beautiful bell tuna from Liberty Bellows. I don't know how that sounded with these two mics because I didn't really do a sound check. All right, you guys. Next week on the stream, it'll be another segment on another book club, another segment on Django June, and more news and some other main segments. So everybody be well. Take care of yourselves in your community. Play lots of music. Go see music and